thanks everybody for finding some time to get a little bit of core done today. We wanted you to be able to see the exercises at the same time that I'm explaining it to you. There are a few people that are kind of newer to some of this. So I've got my brother here, Jeff. He's going to actually demonstrate the exercises as I'm kind of talking you through the core progression. So he's going to model, we're going to start off, you're going to be on the ground, on a yoga mat, on the floor, whatever you've got for space. But he's going to kind of be modeling on this table just so that you can see it. And then at some point, we will kind of move the table aside and we'll do a few standing exercises as well. So first thing we're going to do today, we're going to go through two really basic positions just to get things started. I want to make sure everybody is familiar with the idea of a pelvic tilt and a runner stance. So we're going to quickly talk you through both of those movements before we go any further. So I'm going to have Jeff up on the table. You're going to want to go on the ground. We're going to teach you a pelvic tilt with your back on the table or your back on the ground first. So I want you laying flat on your back. I want your feet flat on the ground. Your knees are bent. And if you're like most people, when you get into this position, you're going to find that your lower back is not in contact with the ground. It's just about a ½ inch up. So what we're going to do is concentrate on using our lower abdominal muscles to pull our hips up and press our lower spine into the ground. So what I'd like you to do right now is try that movement. Use the lower abdominal muscles, pull the hips up, press the spine into the ground. If you're doing it right, then there's no space under your spine. To be in complete contact with the ground. I want you to release that, let the back arch just a little bit, and then go back into that pelvic tilt once more. Release it again, let the back arch a little bit, and then again, use those lower abdominal muscles to tilt the pelvis back, press the lower spine into the ground. We're teaching you the movement on the ground so that you get familiar with the muscles. Right? The ground's a good feedback mechanism to know you're using the right muscles and you're getting the spine where it needs to go. So from there, I want you to stand up. I'm going to have you do that exact same movement, except standing up now. It's a little bit trickier because you don't have the ground there that you can feel. But you're going to start, you want to put your hands on your hips. And we're going to sort of let the lower back arch a bit and let your hips almost point downward. And then we're going to use the lower abdominal muscles, pull them up, take the arch out of the back. Same thing, relax it again, let the lower back arch a little bit. And then pelvic tilt. Take the arch out of your back, use the lower abdominal muscles, pull the hips up. Do it one more time, let it relax, let it go lax, and then use those lower abdominal muscles for pelvic tilt. It's going to be a few times during certain exercises where we'll remind you of the pelvic tilt, so I just want you to know what that movement is. The other thing we're going to teach you really quickly is a runner stance. This is a finishing position for a lot of different exercises that we do. So a good runner stance, you're going to start off nice and tall, your spine elongated, pretend like someone's pulling you by a string from the top of your head. And then I want you to raise the right knee up and the left hand up. It's kind of an exaggerated running position. And I want you nice and tall, nice and stable. The right knee is up, the right toe is up, the left arm is driving up, and you're kind of in that crisp, tall, what we call a runner stance. I'm going to have Jeff show it to you from the side so that you can see it from there again. But again, you're going to pop up into that runner stance, knee up, toe up, and then the opposite arm drives up as well. And of course, we want to be able to hit that on both sides. So if you can switch it for me, we'll do the left knee and the left toe and the right arm up as well. Release it, hit that stance one more time. Again, we're going to use that as a verbal cue. So there'll be certain times there'll be a couple of times where I'll have you finish in that runner stance for certain exercises. All right, so the first exercise that we're going to do is a front plank. I'm going to have Jeff hop up on the table. You're going to want to be on the floor. It's a front bridge. A lot of you have done this before. I'm going to keep a watch on it, so you don't have to worry about timing it. I'll keep a watch on it for you. But we want to be on our stomach. Elbows are on the ground. We're going to lift up so that the only thing on the ground are our forearms and our toes. Your goal is to keep your back nice and flat. You want a straight line from your shoulders to your hips, to your knees, to your ankles. We're going to use that pelvic tilt motion. You're going to take the arch out of your back. If you notice, Jeff's back is nice and flat right now. He's not letting it arch inward. He's also not letting it bow out. You have to do a little bit of a self-assessment because we're not there to spot your forearm. So double check that your back is nice and flat right now. Gonna hold that position just a few more seconds and release it. Next thing I'm gonna have you do, we're gonna go into a right side bridge. So you're gonna lay on your right side. You're gonna have your right elbow on the ground, forearms in contact with the ground. You're laying on your right side. When we lift up, the only thing in contact with the ground is gonna be your right foot and your right forearm. So I'm gonna have Jeff lift up. If you're not familiar with the position, you can take a look at what he's doing. You're gonna immediately find that you have to find something to do with that left arm. So you can either raise it up towards the ceiling, or you can put it on the left hip if that's more comfortable for you. Most important thing I want you to check for right now in your form is that you are in a nice straight line. So as I'm looking down his body from here, he's in a nice straight line. Shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles are all perfectly lined up with each other. Keeping that hip nice and high. I'm gonna have him release it. Have you release as well. And then we're gonna go over to the opposite side. So you can just flip over. He's gonna change direction so he's still facing towards you, but you're gonna go over to your left side. Same exact movement. Get yourself in a nice straight lined up position, right? You don't wanna have your butt back. You wanna be in a nice straight position. And go ahead and raise up into that plank. Again, check that you're in a nice straight line. The number one thing that people are going to want to do on this, that your body's going to want to do to cheat, is to let that top hip drop back. So don't let the top hip go back at all. We're going to release that position. The last thing we're going to do as a bridge progression is a rear bridge. So I'm going to have you go onto your back. Feet are flat on the ground. Body's going to be nice and straight. Let me get out of the way. I'm going to have you raise up into a rear bridge position. So we're driving through, two legs first. We're going to have you press through the glutes, through your butt muscles to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. You're going to have your knees, your hips, and your shoulders in a nice straight line. So if you notice the geometry here from knee to hip to shoulder, it's nice and straight. Keep your hips nice and high. Keep breathing as you hold that position. About another 10 seconds right here. And I'm going to have you release that. We're going to roll over back into a front bridge now. We're going to keep going through that progression a couple more times. We're going to give you a couple more challenging variations in case these versions are really easy for you. So we're going to go back to a front bridge. I'm going to have Jeff lift up. Lift up into a nice flat back. Again, check your mechanics. Check your mechanics. We want to have your shoulders, your hips, your knees, and your ankles in a nice straight line. Using a pelvic tilt, keep the back nice and flat. For this one, we're just going to hold it right here. Going to release that position. Going to roll into a right side bridge. Once again, set your elbow in the right position. Make sure that you're nice and tall. And then we're going to raise up into a right side bridge. So we're going to be holding this position for about 45 seconds overall. If this was really easy the first time around, we're going to show you a variation that you can do to make it a little bit more challenging. If this is challenging, then you stay right here. If this is easy though, we'll do what we call a starfish variant. So what I'm going to have Jeff do, he's going to raise his left leg just for about a second, and then bring it back down. And then he's going to do that again. And it's really not about how many reps he does. He's just going to move that slow and controlled throughout the time that we're holding the bridge. It's a lot more challenging to do that. You want to make sure your top hip doesn't drop backwards as you do it. I'm going to release that position. I'm going to go over to the opposite side bridge. And come up into a left side bridge. Same conversation that we just had. So first, make sure that you've got a good bridge going. You're in a nice straight line, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. And then if this is easy, then we're going to start doing those starfish reps, slow and controlled. Doesn't matter how many you do. We just want to keep that leg moving to make it more challenging. If this is causing you to start to lose your form, then don't do it. You just stay in the regular side bridge until that gets a little bit stronger. You got about 10 seconds left. And we're going to release that. We're going to go back into a rear bridge position. So you are on your back. Feet are flat on the ground, knees are bent. Just put your hands by your sides, let them hang out. And we're going to press up into a rear bridge. Now, right now we're doing a two-legged version. We're going to be here for about a minute. So if this feels like it's going to be challenging to hold for a minute, then you probably stay right here. If this is really easy, then we're going to do some one-legged lifts. So to show you that progression, I'm going to have Jeff take his right foot and put it on his left knee. And then we're going to raise and lower the hips. Raise them down, just barely tap the ground, and then we're going to come right back up. You just do that continuously. Again, slow and controlled. We're not counting reps. We're just doing it for time. And if you are doing the one-legged reps, I'm going to have you switch sides right now. And we'll just keep, again, dropping and lifting, driving off that one glute muscle. That's one side of your butt that's doing the work here. And we're going to release that position. Go back to front bridge one more time. We're going to go through one more bridge circuit. Starting with a front plank, everybody's up in 3, 2, 1, everybody's up. You're gonna start to get a little bit more tired now. We've already done this for a few minutes. So double check your form. Make sure you're keeping the butt down, but the back flat. Keep breathing the entire time. And double check your mechanics. Body is a straight line. Shoulders to hips, to knees, to ankles. And a nice stable plank. Check that pelvic tilt. Make sure the back isn't starting to arch. Going to be here for about another 15 seconds or so. And have you release that position. Going to roll into a right side bridge. Coming up into a right side bridge in 3, 2, 1. Everybody's up. Do what you like with that left hand. Either raise it up or put it on your hip. Make sure you're nice and stable. Don't let the left hip drop behind the right. You got to keep that left hip forward. And then if you can do your starfish reps, you can start doing that now. You got about 30 seconds left in this position. If you're doing your starfish reps, make sure that they're slow. Make sure that they're controlled. Don't worry about counting them. We're doing it all by time. want you to release that position. We're going to roll over into the other side bridge. Everybody up. Once again, body's like a plank. It's a straight line from your shoulders to your hips, to your knees, to your ankles. Going to take the first 15 seconds or so here. Again, get your form correct. Make sure you're in a nice straight line. Make sure that the right hip isn't dropping back at all. Make sure the butt's pressing forward. Don't let the butt go back. And then from here, if you want to start doing some starfish reps, you can. Again, nice and slow and controlled if you're doing them. You don't have to do the starfish reps. I'd rather have you do a good bridge than have you do a bad bridge with starfish reps. And we're going to release that. We're going to go into a rear bridge this time. Last set of rear bridges. I want you to set yourself up in a good position, and then you're going to lift up in 3, 2, 1. Everybody's up. A nice straight line from your knees through your hips to your ankles. Hips are nice and high. I'm going to have you do a slightly different variant on this one if it's easy. If this is still feeling pretty easy for you, then what we're going to do is straighten the left leg without anything else moving. And we're just going to try to keep those hips nice and high. We're only going to hold here for about 10 seconds or so. And then we're going to slowly bring that foot back down and go back into a nice stable two-legged bridge. And then we'll switch to the other side. We'll extend the right leg, nice and straight. Hold it here, nice and stable. Again, we're only going to hold it here for about 10 seconds. Try to fight it, try to keep the hips up. And we're going to release it and drop out of the bridge. So at this point, we're going to move you off of the floor. And we're going to be doing a couple of standing core exercises. We're going to move this table out of here, but you just need to make sure that you have enough space to stand up, and you want to have enough space to take a step forward when the time comes. This is the point where you're going to need the chair for the first time. So you're going to want to set that chair up, and you want to be able to stand probably about 1.5 to 2 feet in front of that chair. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to be doing what's called a rear foot elevated split squat. So some of you have done this before. You already know what I'm going to say. But I want you to take your right foot and put it back behind you so that your toes are on the chair. Basically resting that right foot on the chair. I'm actually going to, just for a second, I'm going to turn Jeff so that if you don't know what we're doing, you can see. So he's going to put his right foot back on the chair. And we're going to keep it far enough behind him that his right knee is behind his left knee. I'm going to have him do this facing you, but that's the position you're looking for from the side. Now, the key to this exercise is really going to be more than anything in him controlling his position and his balance on the way down. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly lower the body. And as he lowers down, he's going to bring the right arm up. And then he's going to come out of that, switching the arm positions. I'm going to have him show it to you a few more times if you're not familiar with this. So as he lowers down, his right arm's coming up, and you see his left knee is sort of coming up as his body weight goes down. And then he's going to switch back. And he's sort of finishing in that runner stance, except that that foot is back. So I want you to go ahead and give this a try. Just do 1 rep for me right now, nice and slow. I can't see you, but I want you to do 1 slow one and just really kind of understand the movement. And then what we're going to do is, once you're comfortable with it, I'm going to have you do reps continuously until I tell you to stop. It'll be about 30 seconds. The key here is not to get a lot of reps in. The key here is to have good stability, control the way down, control the way back up. If you get in 10 reps and someone else gets in 12, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that we've got good controlled movement. may at some point start to lose your balance a little bit. Don't worry about it. Just get back into that position. This exercise challenges your stability and your balance. It's part of the exercise. So if you start to lose it, move your foot around, whatever you have to do. Just get it back and then continue. I'm going to have you stop after your next rep so that we can switch sides. So this time you're going to have the left foot back. Left foot is up on the chair. Get yourself stable, find your balance. Make sure that that foot is far enough in front of the chair that you can comfortably lower. And before I start any kind of timer on it, I want you to just do 1 or 2 reps by yourself, just to make sure that you feel that same movement, kind of get used to what it feels like on the other side. Again, slow and controlled is your best friend here. And when you're ready, I'm going to start a timer. You're just going to do it continuously in 3, 2, 1, go. Try to keep that front knee nice and stable all the time.
You want something about weight in the heel? Not.
Yeah, you want to keep it. It's a good point. You want to keep all the weight on the heel of the right foot, not on the toes, so that when you're going down, really, your butt's going back. You don't want the right knee to come forward, really. It's a good squat position. It's all about your butt going back. It's not about bending from the knee. It's about bending from the hip and getting the butt back. And I'm going to stop you right there. Take a second and just shake your legs out, just because they were kind of holding that position for a while. And then we're going to go, next thing we're going to go into is what we call a runner touch. So to do a runner touch, you're going to need a little bit of room. Some people like to use a foam roller or a water bottle as a target, but you don't necessarily need it. Move that so you can go back a little bit, because you're almost out of the thing already. So what you're going to do a runner touch, you're going to start by raising your right hand up as if you were going to swear an oath or something. And you're going to have if you've got a target, it's going to be just to your left, because you've got the right hand up. And then the right foot you're going to lift up so that you're standing only on the left. And then in a slow and controlled movement, we're going to slowly bend down, try to touch the target or the ground or the roller or the water bottle, whatever you're using. And then when we come up, I want you to come up into that runner stance. And then the right arm's going to reach and then come up into the runner stance. You're going to reach and come up into the runner stance.
The other way.
So when the right knee comes up, it's going to be the left arm that comes up with it. Reach with the other hand. I messed you up.
I know what you're doing. That's funny.
So once you get that movement down, I'm going to have you do a few reps on a timer. I'm going to have you start in 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm going to have you, after you finish your next rep, we're going to switch sides. If you are using a water bottle or a foam roller as a target to reach for, you want to move that to the other side now. And we'll do the same thing on this side in 3, 2. So if you're going to be, if the roller is on your left, you're going to be reaching for it with the right, and then it's going to be the left arm that comes up and do it. So you're going to go ahead and drop down and reach, and then come up into the runner stance. And reach, come up into the runner stance. I'm going to let you go. You're on a timer starting in 3, 2, 1, go. You're gonna find that this challenges your balance. So if you're losing your balance a little bit, try to pick a spot on the ground ahead of you that you can look at. That'll kind of help you to keep a sense of your balance as you do it. It's meant to challenge your balance, so don't think that that's a problem. That's exactly what we're trying to work on here. And I'm going to have you stop from that exercise. And you can take the foam roller, whatever you're using, if you're using a target, and just move it aside. I'm going to show you one other exercise here, and it's going to be a basic lunge. So most of you already know how this is going to work. We're going to be doing it in place, but we're going to be really taking a step back in between lunges just to make sure that we're not traveling too far ahead. So to do a good lunge, you want to make sure that you have plenty of space. We are going to start off in a runner stance. So you're going to have your right knee up and your left arm up. We're going to step forward with the right leg. We're going to drop the knee down into that runner stance, and then we're going to drive up on taking a step forward and finishing in the opposite runner stance. So we really start on one side, lunge, drop, and then pop up to the other side. Right? I'm going to have Jeff do it from the side so that you can see it from the side once as well. You have to step back in between reps here. He's in a stance, he's going to lunge, and then he's going to come up into the other side. And that's what we're looking for, controlling all steps of the movement. He's going to reset in between.
I'm going to set on the other side, or
we're going to do, for right now, always starting with the right knee up. So for right now, we're always starting with the right knee up. We're finishing with the left knee up. So I'm going to have him go through. I'm going to have you do it also. I can't see you, but do it on your own pace. I'm going to keep you on this for about a minute or so. Just continuously going through that lunge progression, step back twice in between, and you can keep moving through it.
I would emphasize stopping at the end.
Yeah, make sure that you really stick the landing here. You want to get up into that runner stance and kind of hold it for a second, and then step back. All right, so see right there, he kind of comes up and holds it for a split second. All right, I'm going to have you switch to the opposite side after you finish this rep. So we're going to be doing the exact same exercise. The difference this time is you're going to be starting with the left knee up and the right arm up. You're going to go into a lunge, drop the knee, drive up into that stance. You're going to repeat that movement over and over again. I'm going to give you about a minute on this, and go. Try to really, again, stick the landing when you come out of it. So what I mean by stick the landing is come up and hold it there. Right? Hit it, hold it, and then you can release and step back. Got about 15 seconds left on this one, so we'll get a few more reps in. And we're going to release that position after you finish this rep. And we're just going to cycle through that once more. So now you know the exercises, we should be able to go a lot quicker. We're going to go back to the rear foot elevated split squat. So find your chair. Put it in a good position. Going to get those right toes back on the chair. We're going to lower down. As you lower down, the butt goes back. The right arm's going to come up. And then when we come back up, we'll drive the left arm instead. Lower down, and then drive back up. Yep. Slow and controlled, and a little lower. Controlled on the raise. Yep, that's the movement. I'm gonna have you doing that continuously. I'll let you know when to stop. It'll be about 45 seconds. And we're gonna stop that exercise there. We're gonna switch to the opposite side. Shake your legs out for a second if you need to. This time the left toes are gonna go back. And same movement. We're gonna start lowering, nice and controlled. Raising back up. And again, I'm gonna have you go 45 seconds. So just keep moving through that. And it's not about how many reps you get in. It's about controlled movement. Do a quick check on your front knee as you're going down. Make sure that it's not wobbling side to side. If it is wobbling side to side, you're going to try to control that better. And we're going to release that position. We'll get rid of the chair for a minute. We're going to go back into the runner touch. I did a bad job of explaining this the first time, so I'm going to quickly talk you through it, but really fast. So the easiest thing is probably to start off in a runner stance with that right knee up and the left arm up. The left arm is up, but the right arm is your reach hand here. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach down with the right arm towards the ground and then come back up to the same runner stance you started in. We reach down and then come back up to that runner stance. That's what we're going for. So you're starting and ending in that exact same runner stance position. It's just that the right arm is helping guide you as you're reaching down. So you go ahead and do that continuously. I'll let you know when to stop. Again, slow and controlled is better than fast and wobbly. And we're going to switch to the opposite side. If you've got a water bottle or a roller that's target, you want to move it over to the other side. So this time our runner stance that we're starting from is with the left knee up and the right arm up. And then we're going to reach down. The left arm is going to be your guide. And then up into that runner stance. About 10 more seconds on this. And we're going to release that. One more exercise left. We're going to do one more set of lunges, and then it's going to be a wrap. So same deal as before. We're going to be doing, starting from a runner stance, and then we'll be taking a step forward as we lunge, and then finishing in the opposite side runner stance. So start off with that right knee up and toe up. Go ahead and give yourself a good step. Drop the knee into a lunge, and then drive up and stick the landing. Take a step back and repeat. We'll let you go for about 45 seconds here. I'll let you know when it's up. And every time, nice tall stance, a good lunge, knee drop, and then up into that opposite side runner stance. Make sure to control it all the time. One of the bad habits that we sometimes see with lunges is that people will take a big step and then they'll drop their weight into the lunge. We want to control the descent. We don't want to be dropping into our lunge. We want to be controlling the descent. Get time for about one more rep. And I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to have you switch to the opposite side. So we were starting with our right knee up. Now you're going to want to start with the left knee up. And we're going to take a nice big step, drop the back knee, and then come up into that opposite side runner stance. That's your key movement there. Go ahead and reset. Again, I'm going to let you go for about 45 seconds. I'll let you know when it's up. A lot of the work here is really going to, most of the work here is going to really be done by the left glute, left side of your butt. That's what's going to be driving, you're going to be driving off as you come up into that ending position. Concentrate on nice and stable, controlling the knee. You get time for about one more rep. And I'm going to stop you right there.